comment, like, and subscribe. So like most things, I get bored really easily, so I have to have projects to work on. The Foxbody. Let's talk about the 87 Saleen here. Why is it on the lift? Well, first thing is, remember when I had these control arms on the Mach 1 and I changed them because I had to change this bushing out, which I did. So I got brand new bushings in both sides. I was gonna put these on here, but as you know, the 99 to 04, this hole is bigger and the bolt would flop around in it. So I need bigger bolts. And what that also means is I'm gonna go in here and open this hole up. So I will have bigger bolts and the right control arms for 99 to 04. And then I'll have the new control arms on the back. As you can tell, these are the random eBay cheap control arms this car has on it, lower and upper. I'm not going to change the uppers just yet, but I am changing the lowers. And it might be hard to see. Let me grab a light. But this one is cracked. So it's a good thing I decided to change those. You can get those arms for like 100 bucks. They're really cheap, which kind of tells you they don't last very long. I'm going to show you when you put the newer style control arms on your Foxbody what you have to change. So the first thing you can do is go to UPR Products and buy this bolt kit. It's 2025-02. It's a 14 millimeter rear bolt kit. And it comes with these, and these are a lot bigger than what these are. These are like a 3/8 hole size. This is a 9/16 hole size. Therefore, I didn't have the right bits. I had to order some bits off Amazon. Make sure you get the Cobalt style drill bits. I got 3 in a pack. Here it is on my drill. What we're doing is we're opening up on the body or the rear end so the control arms will bolt in with these larger bolts instead of these smaller ones. Will the smaller ones work? Yep, but you'll have slop and play in the arms. So to do it right, you want to open up the holes, put this bigger bolt into it. Now let me show you what it looks like. So right here is the control arm. And it's going to go through this hole, but as you can see, this hole is bigger in the control arm. So I've got to open up the hole here and on the other side, and then it'll take the bigger bolt. Same thing up here. I got to take the mufflers down and drill that out. You'll notice I mocked it up with the smaller bolts just to make sure everything's going to fit right, and it does. So now I'm just going to drill this out and pop the bolts in it. And here's the finished product. Beefy. And just to show you a trick here, you take the front bolt out, leave everything else hooked up, just take your sway bar off, of course get your exhaust out of the way, and just kind of prise that arm down, get your drill bit in, drill all the way from one side through to the other, and you're good to go. I had to extend my bit out on here just so it would go through, but there it is. Just go straight through. Now my bolt will go through. I'll wedge the arm back in there with my pole jack. Alright, I want to show you a quick trick how to align the control arm back up. So when you take the bolt out, it's going to have some tension and it's going to pull the arm back. The rear end's going to rotate back a little bit. And so what you do is I take a pry bar, I prise it down out of the way so I can drill the hole, but then you go to put it back in, you need a pole jack down here to push it up, but you need to pull the arm forward, and it's really hard to do by yourself. So what I've found is I take just a strap, see here, I hook it up here to my lift, I hook it back here around the shock mount, and then as I tighten that up, it pulls the control arm forward, and then I use my pole jack to align the hole. And as you can see here, it's pretty close. It's forward just a hair, so I'll loosen that up a little bit there, and guide it back into place, and the bolt will go right through. But just something that, you know, a little trick if you're trying to do this at home, because the rear end will tilt and move around on you. But as you can see, I've already got this side back together. I just have to put my sway bar mount on and my brake cable bracket there. But this is all hooked back up and ready to go. So I want to tell you something about putting 94 to 04 struts on your Foxbody. While they do work, they're about 1 inch longer. So what you're gonna run into if you're like me and you're running stock caster camber plates on here, I've already modified this one so you can see how much the stud comes through, but realistically what we're looking for here is the compression between the flat washer cap down holding that rubber. Again, that one's modified, this one's not. This is bolting just the strut on and putting everything back together. And this is now tight, and look, that actually moves in here. It's not, you can see it's not compressed properly. To fix that, I'm going to remove this nut, pull this off, and there's a little metal sleeve in here, and you got to cut it down and basically take you a chop saw or saw whatever you got, and you remove just a little bit of material. And I can measure this for you. Let's see if I get my piece here. But this is how much you want to cut off. So I cut that much off, and it went from this height to this height with more compression now, which makes the strut tighter, which makes it work properly and be safe. So I'm gonna cut the other one. Just want to share that with you. If you're on a stock caster cambers, this metal sleeve is a little bit too long to keep it from tightening down. So just remove about that much material. I can put a tape measure on it if you want. Give me a second. There you go. It's 4.7 millimeters is how much I cut off. All right. Hope that helps. All right, here's what I'm talking about. Remove this nut here. Pull this metal flat washer piece off. And then you want to move this. And when you remove this, you'll see the metal sleeve here. And this is what we're going to cut, because that's too long. Want to allow that to tighten up. So I'll cut this one off to match the other side, tighten it back up. So working on the Foxbody suspension here, one thing I want to tell you, I've said it in my other videos, but these polyurethane spring isolators are horrible. While they do hold up, they squeak. No matter what you do, they squeak. I hate them. So to replace the lower on your spring, get you some 3/4 heater hose, take some WD-40, spray in the hose, and then push it down, make a little horseshoe shape like this, so it sits on the control arm, won't squeak. It'll be rubber just like factory, no problem. For the top, I'm actually going to use the factory replacement rubber ones. I found them on eBay. They were supposed to be here yesterday, they haven't arrived yet. So when they get here, I'll put those on, put them back in the car, and then this annoying squeak I've had will finally be gone. I probably showed you my other videos, but you want to make sure the pigtail end is centered, either on the front or back, whatever you prefer. I prefer mine because these are iBox springs and they drop real low. I prefer to put the pigtail on the front of the control arm there. See how it breaks center way of the arm? And this one the same way. You can see up in there. Anyway, you want to break right on the center of the control arm there. Right at the edge, here's where I do it. And that helps be consistent in height both sides. It's just a little trick a lot of people don't realize they put springs on. They just throw them in place. They don't check the orientation of that. But that does make a difference in the ride height, because if you pull it down this way, it can actually change how the car sits from side to side. It's one thing to keep in mind. Everything else looks great. Now I've got rubber at the top from factory. I've got the rubber hose at the bottom. So no more squeaks. Let's hope. And I put these in parking brake bracket holders there, or cable holders you can call it, with the little bracket. Makes it nice. Basically when they did the swap for I bought the car, they had a big zip tie holding that over. You know me, attention to detail. So now I've got the brackets holding it. Everything looks the way it's supposed to. One of the last things to touch up on the Foxbody are the rear shocks. I'm taking off these pretty much generic black ones that were on it, and I'm putting on the matching Takiko rear shocks. that match the struts on the front. So as you remember, these came off the Mach 1. I'm literally taking off of it now because it's sitting there for a while without a transmission. And now the Foxbody is going to have the nicest suspension it's ever had. Takiko struts and shocks front and rear. And it should handle like a champ. Love a finished product that works out exactly as expected.